everybody. Welcome. I am Matt Monty. This is Joe Lissette. We're here in Indianapolis, Indiana. We're going to play some Pioneer, Joe, which you played some of last week. So very excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here, dude. I had a really good time at the Players Tour last week playing Pioneer. It was kind of my competitive introduction to the format, and I was pleasantly surprised. I felt like a lot of the games were interesting and complicated, and really that's what we're looking for. We got virtual players here today. We have how many?
156, I believe.
156. I don't know what actually a virtual counts as, but
156?
yeah, I think that's the new designation.
Well, at any rate, so Pioneer overall is still kind of in its infancy, right? There's a lot of decks now. They're like more combo based. So Inverter, you played the Lotus Breach deck. I'm sure we're going to see those a bunch today. Somebody referred to it as a 4-deck format this morning to me. So there's those two are the big ones.
Yeah.
The Sultai deck is another one.
Yeah.
And then Mono Black, I think, is what they said 4-deck. But there's so many more.
No, I would not agree with classifying it as a 4-deck
there's
format.
tons of decks.
I think you could argue it's a 2-deck format, and the players trying to beat those two. I think you could argue for 3 with the Sultai Delirium as the third one. I don't think you could, by any stretch, say 4, and if you did, I don't think you would be. I don't know if you would be on a black next.
I think that the two like S tier or A tier decks, whatever you want to call them, are the 2 combo decks you mentioned, the Inverter and the Breach deck, and then everything else is kind of just in this scene.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of what Modern was, like maybe last year or a year and a half ago, something like that, where there was pretty clear top decks, and then there was just a ton of things that you can play. They might not have been the best deck, but they were serviceable decks.
Right, and I think it's really, we had a couple months of Pioneer where it was really kind of the Wild West. You could play whatever you wanted. The players and Wizards were figuring out the format, getting things a little tuned up. And now, after the first pair of weekends of regional player tours, now we have an established game, and the cream of the crop is the Lotus Breach combo deck and Dimir Inverter. And now it's on all the other decks to show that they can fight with those.
Okay.
And I think the primary way that needs to happen is players need to look at their sideboards and remove a lot of the stuff that was kind of for an open metagame that was undiscovered and say, I need cards that are specifically good against those top 2 decks.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be a one-week process to figure that out. But we had last week where I played numerous matches against players who had, 2 cards that were strong sideboard cards against Lotus Breach, and that's not how many you need. You need, 4, you need 6, and you need to cut kind of the mid-range value cards because those decks exist, but they're not the key decks.
Sure, it's not like it was where people would load up on like Grasp of Darkness per se in the sideboard. So that card's it's fine, but it's nonsense against the 2 big decks.
Right. And so we'll, over time, over the next, let's say, month or so, starting this weekend in various places around the world, we're going to see players hopefully realizing that they need more cards for the best decks. Because the top 2 decks, I think, last week and over the last 2 weeks, the top 2 decks were significantly better than the field.
Yeah, I agree.
And the win rates, I think, bore that out. I mean, there's just, the other decks are just not on par.
Sure.
But you can make up the difference with, tuning your main deck and your sideboard for those matchups. But that needs to actually happen. And it's going to be, we'll see. I mean, I'm excited to see today more graveyard hate, more spell hate, more interaction with those decks.
Cool. All right, well, we're ready to jump down into our first match today. I believe we have Phil Silverman down there, who is no stranger to Storm deck, which is kind of what this Breach deck is in essence. You obviously can speak to it more than I had since you played the Players Tour. You actually played the Lotus Breach deck, which is really awesome. In general, it's incredibly powerful. Yawgmoth's Will is a card that, like, you always think, like, is it okay to print into this format? And here we are. So Phil's actually going to be playing the Inverter deck. So, one of the 2 big ones, and then Derek York you see on the other end there playing Golgari Eldrazi, which is an interesting deck.
Yeah, so Eldrazi, we don't have deck lists in front of us yet. Thought Not Seer is a card that even last weekend we saw in the Grand Prix, which started the day after the Players Tour, so already there was updates to decks based on the initial results, was won by Ben White's with Mono Red Eldrazi, which I mean, he had Thought-Knot Seers in the 75, and that's a strong card against both decks.
Yeah, very interesting. So you see an Eldrazi Mimic there for Derek on the left, and Phil's going to go ahead and use that Fabled Passage to get out. Looks like an island there. Fabled Passage is a card I thought, like, so it wasn't in all of these inverter decks in the beginning. They were playing like a bunch of fetid pools. I really think Fabled Passage is a big one that you want to fuel your dig through times and things like that. And also, I just think fetid pools, the tap land's a real cost.
So the tap lands are, it's amazing. Some of the color pairs in this format have so many options.
Yeah.
It's for, I'm still kind of the mindset, and this isn't entirely accurate, but I'm stuck in the mindset of Pioneer being a small format. And it really isn't. But for Blue-Black Inverter, for example, there are more options for dual lands than you'll just play all the dual lands.
Yeah.
Like in Standard, you just play all the dual lands available. There's too many. You have to choose which ones you want and balance that out. And so you have the come into play tap cycle lands, for example. You have, like you said, Fabled Passage. One of the real impacts of Fabled Passage in the deck, as the players get going, cantrips are cast, and hands are kind of set up here, is that Inverter, one of the keys to play the deck, and one of the things that makes it tricky, is to manage your graveyard size. And Fabled Passage is a card that is a land that adds a card to your graveyard, which is not always a good thing.
Right. Yeah, I think one of the things people were kind of joked about is, I can't remember the name of the Black Pain land off the top of my head here, but they were talking about Underground River, right? So they were like, well, once this card gets printed, this deck's busted. It's kind of funny that there's a few Pain lands that aren't printed in the set. I'd be shocked if they're not in one of these like core sets or something like that in the near future. And we really see, the power level of the land bases in Pioneer.
All right, so we talked a little bit about the overall metagame and how these things might play out. The series that actually started here, we have Derek not really with the amount of pressure he's probably hoping to build to at the beginning of the game. And Phil Silverman with Drown in the Loch, which is a 2-mana removal spell, and yet actually at the moment couldn't kill Eldrazi Mimic because Drown in the Loch only. Maybe we can bring that card up on the screen if we're ready. It's very versatile because it's a counter spell or a removal spell, but it's hindered by the amount of cards in the opponent's graveyard, and at the time it was only one. So it can actually only kill the elf. It didn't have the option to kill the Mimic.
Yeah. So I played some of this Dimir Inverter. I kind of played like the whole buffet of Pioneer decks to kind of get ready for the event. One of the things I noticed early, I mentioned Fabled Passage and Dig Through Time. Jace, Wielder of Secrets, or Wielder of Mysteries, I think is the name of it. This card was like a 2 of in the early versions, and then moved to 3 of, and I'm pretty firm on it being a 4 of in the deck. It's one of the more powerful parts of the puzzle that you can have. It's a win con on its own, and it also just kind of digs you through your deck. And a lot of the players you mentioned having sideboard cards or cards ready for these matchups, Hero's Downfall, Dreadbore, things like that are not really prevalent in this metagame. So I think having something like that, it's mostly unassailable unless it's on the ground, is a big deal.
Yeah, they're definitely not playing high numbers. Heroes Downfall, Dreadbore. They exist as one-ofs, but that's not, I mean, obviously the Jace count is going to be 3 or 4. So we have here Derek choosing to attack Phil for 4 damage instead of attacking Jace. Okay. So, and that Thought-Knot Seer did take the Inverter out of Phil's hand, so while he was looking reasonably set up, although with little action, but he had the combo win available, that's now gone for the moment.
Yeah, so you see Narset Parter Avails is kind of one of those cards that's, again, it's another flex card in these inverter decks. Phil's going to go ahead and find a Dig Through Time, and of course, Jace is going to fuel that Dig Through Time as well, so Phil's set up to dig at an end step here if he wants with the Jace activation there. He's in really good shape.
Yeah, well, he will be. It's interesting. He can cast Dig Through Time as long as Derek kills a Planeswalker.
Wow, I think Derek actually drew a Reality Smash off the top, and that's 14 points exactly here.
Well, that's going to be...
that's a pretty good draw.
That's very nice for your first game of the tournament.
Yeah, so he's going to attack Phil for 14. The Mimic copies the power and toughness of that Reality Smasher, so that's 5 from each of those. That's 10, and then a 4 from the Thought-Knot Seer. And Derek gets paid off for attacking Phil the turn before.
Yes, he sure did.
Wow.
That was... that was perfect. So this is an element now. I've seen, I talked about, for example, the red deck had the Thought-Knot Seers, but I've not really seen a full Eldrazi package like we see Derek here. And that was a lot of pressure. And this is,
That was awesome.
This is a format where Reality Smasher is not very easy to kill.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I mentioned, again, Fable Passage with Fatal Push is like one of the couple of ways that Phil has in his deck as we take a peek here.
But that kills Thought here. That doesn't
kill Reality Smasher, right? Yeah. There's the Drown in the Lock, there's the Hero's Downfall, and really, I'm just taking a peek here. That's it for Phil's main deck.
One Hero's Downfall. And that's funny. I actually watched a match last week where this was in the, I believe, the PTU, not in the actual Pro Tour, where a player was facing down a 5-cost creature, and there was a Fable Passage fetch to turn on Revolt, and then Fatal Push, and the player's like, okay, you're correct, the Revolt's enabled. However, my creature still doesn't die.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's, I mean, the 5 casting cost is not easy to remove in this format.
Yeah, so we're taking a look at the deck lists here. You have Derek.
So I have Derek's deck, and there's an Eldrazi package here. We have Mimic, Wasteland Strangler, Thought on Seer, Reality Smasher, and then we have a little bit of Acceleration, we have 1 Hour Elves, we have 3 Beanstalk Giants, and then there's actually a mixture of removal. Now, Derek, speaking of the main deck here, Derek's deck actually can deal with the creatures in his own deck.
Though some of the cards aren't using this format. So we'll take them off the screen for you. But Joe, why don't you run us through the sideboard here?
Sure. Okay. So Derek's sideboard is 4 Leyline of the Void, which is a card again that last couple weeks we were seeing like 2.
Yes.
And so we're playing 4 Leyline of the Void, 3 Returning Natures, more Graveyard
That's
Cage,
great, yeah.
2 Infinite Obliterations, 2 Carnage Tyrants, 2 Ritual of Soot, 2 Damping Sphere.
Okay.
So what we're looking at here is a lot of cards that are good against Lotus Reach, and a lot of cards that are good against the Mirror Inverter.
That's a really great
good
sideboard.
job. Good job putting this together. In this matchup against Inverter, we see Infinite Obliteration, which is 3 mana. There are a number of different cranial extraction spells in this format. I believe there's 4, which is more than. And again, I keep thinking, well, that's a lot for standard, but this isn't standard. But yeah, so we have Infinite Obliterations, which can end the Inverter, and severely cripple. Severely cripple Phil's ability to win the game. We have Leyline of the Void, which is interesting, and some Inverted players don't mind the full-on Mirror Hate because it means you can't win over 2 turns, but it does mean that you can always win with Inverted because you're just playing both the same turn no matter what.
Yeah, the 6 mana combo is available. You mentioned that. The only thing that really hurts, if there's Jace's Rinse Prodigies in the deck, and obviously Dig Through Time is an 8.
No, it's definitely a significant deterrent to the deck. It does enable the immediate win where you don't have to worry about your graveyard size, obviously, but it does hinder a lot of the rest of the deck. Are there Jaces? Because there's not Jaces in every...
So I'm taking a peek here at Phil's sideboard. So he does have 2 Jace Rinse Prodigies in here. He has the 4th fastest Oracle in his sideboard. He has Kalidas, which is okay. There's just not a lot that I love here. There's another Hero's Downfall, which is something too.
There's the sideboard and all the very minute, subtle changes and differences in the sideboards and in just the format and the decks, I think are very interesting to me.
Yeah.
The 4th Colossus article. So I believe it was the Peppa Pig team that was on the build is this build where they went to 4 Jace main deck.
Yep.
And then they have the 4th Oracle on the board, which seems one of the reasons I have the 4th Oracle on the board. It's for aggro decks because it's a 3 toughness creature. That seems crazy to me.
Yeah.
But that's one of the reasons why it's in there.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Yeah, Phil's flexible slots in the deck are like Mystical Dispute, a couple Narsets. We saw the Drown and Lock in game 1 on this Hero's Downfall. So we'll see what we get to. It sounds like game 2 is probably about ready to go. Is there Thought Seizes in the main deck of this?
There are 3. There are 3 Thought Seizes, but we do have the 4 Thought Seizes to support that. This is, boy, I gotta tell you, Phil Silverman shows up to this tournament. He's playing one of the 2 main tier 1 decks of the format, and first match, I feel like he's running a deck that just has an overwhelming advantage against him. I would not want to be on the inverter side of this matchup.
Yeah, for sure. It's pretty interesting. This Golgari Eldrazi deck isn't a deck where you're like, okay, well, I'll play against this, 100 times today.
No, definitely not. And so we have both players mulling to start game 2.
So, Philly's off on Watery Grave, and there's a overgrown tomb for Derek. Does he have any other one mana plays besides Thoughtseize? Oh, he's Llanowar Elves.
Yeah, he's Llanowar Elves. And we see one there. And this is definitely a matchup where Derek is, once you've taken 2 damage, then 3 hits from Inverter can kill you. But really, between 18 to 12, any additional damage he takes does not matter.
Yeah, not really.
So he's going to feel free to shock. This is not something that will sweat in the matchup.
So Thoughtseize into a Thoughtseize here.
And 2 Mutavaults, Reality Smasher, Beanstalk Giant, and there's Honey Buffers, like you said. Now with the elf on the board, what are we doing here? I mean,
it depends kind of what Phil's hand is. I feel like taking a Thoughtseize is probably particularly.
I mean, if we take the Thoughtseize, then Derek can adventure the Beanstalk Giant to ramp and then play the Reality Smasher the turn after, which is going to be a fair amount of pressure for me. And if Phil has a removal spell that can handle the Reality Smasher, then that's fine with him, perhaps.
So Phil takes the Giant and then has a Fatal Push ready for that Llanowar Elves. So good sequence for him.
Yeah, so Derek definitely, the opening hand he kept to develop his mana, that plan is now gone. His little choice takes the Jace, leaving a Feathercool and a Fatal Passage. So this is interesting on what Phil chooses to do on his next turn. If he draws a land and then Feathercool is second, if he draws anything else, this might just be a play. So he did roll draw land. That's the Drowned Catacomb. So yeah, now the Feather Pools will, and that's the advantage of playing. I doubt there are.
Yep. I'm gonna cycle this.
Derek to flip his mutable.
Fatal Push there would have been good. Derek just softened the can that wasn't one way previously. So it seems safe enough. You can't be too afraid when you're playing, especially if it's a deck that has a combo that can wipe it out all at once. Alright, so Phil taps here for turn 4. Why is Fatal Passage is here? I believe Drew and Virgo on the previous turn on the cycle. He's not a card that he can necessarily deploy here. It's possible. He does have Jace, so with Inverter, you need to have, even if there's no kill card in your hand, there is one in the graveyard. So he could play an Inverter here and know that within the 5 points of his library, there will be a card that he's going to win this game.
Yeah.
That's kind of part of the dance. Part of the dance of playing this deck is do you go for that or not?
Yeah, I think, and you know, he has enough. It's like, so you mentioned Derek's at 16 also, so he's on a real clock too. And you can assume that Derek just doesn't have ways to remove this inverter.
Right, and so even if with Derek having no board with us right now, Phil could reasonably expect that this inverter might just win the game by attacking. It's a 6-6 flyer. That's not something that can be trump blocked effectively or at all. And somehow Derek has won the case, which probably aren't in the deck at this point, but there's just not many things that can do.
Thoughtseize takes Phil's out.
And it doesn't matter. That means that it's going to be a little bit harder for Phil to set up the move for Jason immediately. So the reveal is basically dead. However, I think if you just swing it in here, Derek is going to struggle. So Phil chooses not to attack. I'm going to admit that I'm fairly surprised by that. And
He chose not to attack.
he chose not to attack. He's leaving the inverter back to defend against the Mutavaults. But if those Mutavaults are activating and coming in, then what are we going to defend the chase. There's no guarantees what order he's going to draw the cards.
And Derek knows the context as well, so it's no longer a mystery. And Derek's going to scoop about, yeah, can't get the inverter off the table in time, and the writing's on the wall. So it's going to be 1-1 now. Phil ties things up against Derek. I didn't see a lot that looked too different, obviously, from the structure of the decks. It's hard to tell. But we didn't see like Jace Rings Prodigy or anything like that. I think Phil's going to be hard pressed to bring it in against. He saw the Abrupt Decays and things like that.
And I'm actually surprised that his weren't there. Derek saw Narset in one, but there's no guarantee Narset stays on that either. So maybe Derek obviously left in the Decays and Phil maybe respected the fact that they would be in there, which either side. So these are still not the right side words.
Right.
So we'll maybe just table that for this round. But
yeah, we're getting that solved in our audio issues or things that are solved as well. So.
Are we having audio issues?
I can hear you, and that's an audio issue for me.
You know,
I believe you did that to me last week.
There's another friendly guy, well versed in the ways of magic. He's here to step in for you at any point.
That's good. I would appreciate that. So, just looking back.
Starting off, just spitting fire, man.
So we got Kuro's Downfall, Lincoln Sphere, Credit Carnage, like none of these cards are particularly good stuff for Phil. I mean, the Downfall is the one we talked about. He just doesn't have a lot of cards for this type of matchup. It's not something that I want to say.
Kalidas I like because it turns like Fatal Push on an elf or an Eldrazi Mimic. Okay, sure, you're killing it. But with Kalidas in play, that becomes a huge issue because once we kill one creature, then Kalidas can deal with Reality Smash. But we'll see how. I mean, these games, neither one of these games was competitive in the slightest.
What did you see on Derek's? I mean, he didn't have a ley line. He moved both ways. So trying to dig for that ley line, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, ley line's probably. Infinite Aberration is definitely because Inverter is again it's a huge threat because it enables the combo and it's a 6/6 flyer for 4 mana. So if like for some decks, killing the Inverter, unlike a lot of 2-card combo decks, if you kill one half the combo, that's not the case here. Inverter comes into play once it triggers, then it does not require to still exist. It can die, it can get bounced, it doesn't matter anymore.
Countdown starts.
Right, yeah. But when the clock of the 6/6 itself matters to you, well then, so maybe Fatal Push stays in. Are we playing? We should play Fatal Push, right?
I don't think there are any.
We, in fact, are not playing Fatal Push. Okay. So, one, that's interesting. We do have a smattering of other removal with Murder Riders, Abrupt Case, Murder Strider, obviously works. There are actually additional one-ups. There's a pair of Gildians, which actually is also a flying blocker.
Yeah, he's got some tools, to survive.
But yeah, he definitely does. And I still think that Derek's can be favored because there's going to be games where Foxy's takes or Obliteration takes or many games with those that have to work out that Derek probably should have. Alright, so here we are. We do have Fatal Push killing an elf.
And Eldrazi Mimic there. Garrett. Another Fatal Push in there.
Hands were either removals or any sort of disruption. You can disrupt with counters or with removal, and then and then just lead into straight inverter. That's the best thing you can hope for. So close to 18, heading into his third turn. That's great. Jace a card that sort of depends on the graveyard, but if your graveyard is shut down by line, Jace is still safe. Because that's sort of treated with one, losing every card is probably worth a card, especially in a longer game.
He's been aggressive with these mutables, and I like that.
Yeah, he has. So bad. I mean, these inverter decks are commonly playing 25 or 26 land. 25 land is the most common because we need to get to 4 land or we're just there doing really anything.
We're here just to find trophies up.
I absolutely think there is, yeah, because there's only one life source. And this is at worst looking for 6 damage, and actually getting for 8.
Yeah,
now,
trying to fill down to 6.
Yeah, now if Phil would land inverter, he would be dead. And he doesn't even have that. There it is. So, unfortunately for Phil Silverman, not having really fourth land there, but a lot of pressure. Derek, I mean, and that could have been worse.
Yeah.
Those Eldrazi maybe never even triggered.
They never did it. Yeah, they were just 2 minutes.
There were 2 ones, yeah, and he had 3. 2 minutes before the first one died. So that match is done, and Derek goes. Let's start this thing.
Yeah, off to a 1-0 start. We mentioned his deck is probably not something people are really prepared for. And he also has a really well-built sideboard.
Yeah, it's this is going to be true of the majority of the field, because if you're not playing Lord Spiritual Inverter, you're probably not playing that people prepared for it. If you were really paying attention to what that's doing, so I mean, I feel like we could, maybe I'm overemphasizing this, but I don't know that. I think going into this, there's 2 decks that are here, and then there's everything else, and among the everything else category, there aren't really standouts. Say, Delirium, Monterey, there's a lot that are on play. There are other decks, but none of them I'm confident in playing against, so I'm not going to focus on those. And then, yeah, they're pretty cool. He's ready.
Yeah, his deck includes some pretty powerful stuff. I mean, you know, Elf, honestly, pretty powerful. The Mimic into the bigger Eldrazi is good. The Insult Giant's interesting, but he's got the tools. I mean, he's probably, he's a good sideboard. So he's got decent tools with Abrupt Decay and Murder Strike.
His sideboard actually is so. He's going to have to, like, all the cards he has in the sideboard that Derek does, they're good against Lotus Breach. I don't know if he can bring that in the cards. So he might have overdone it. I would rather be in that spot than have to do it.
I think we're going to take a quick break actually and try and get these audio issues solved, what it sounds like. Is that what we're doing? Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, try and get the audio issues solved, and we'll be back.